Now we will discuss the Abrahamic axis, starting with Kabbalah Thomas. His real name is Thomas Epstein. Origin: born in 1994 in Great Britain to a Christian family, Thomas Epstein became utterly obsessed with Jewish culture, history, and mysticism from a young age. He studied every text he could find and eventually discovered, or convinced himself, that he was a descendant of an even more lost tribe of Epstein through his mother's side. This, he declared, made him Jewish by default. Though not particularly religious or brave, Thomas was cunning, ambitious, and fanatically devoted to the Zionist cause. He booked a one-way ticket to Israel, evicted a Palestinian family from their home, and settled in as a proud Israeli settler. He spent his days spitting on Christians, arguing online, and dreaming of greater power. One evening, while walking home, a flaming pile of garbage erupted in front of him. From the burning refuse, Yahweh the Demiurge appeared and offered him a deal. Thomas accepted without hesitation. He was granted the title of Kabbalah Thomas and was given twisted powers rooted in his obsessions and Yahweh's cruel sense of humor. He is a muscular man with sharp features, wearing a mix of modern Israeli fashion and mystical Kabbalistic symbols. He often wears a large, glowing blue yarmulke-like hat with a Star of David. His eyes burn with zealous intensity. Whenever Kabbalah Thomas or Israel is criticized, he can scream, "That's anti-Semitic," at the top of his lungs. This instantly summons a random, weak-minded American who will throw all their money at him and fight to the death in his defense. He has an almost supernatural skill at digging up dirt on powerful people and forcing them to support his causes. He has heightened strategic thinking, propaganda skills, and political manipulation. He can manipulate mystical symbols for minor effects, shields, blasts, illusions, though he mostly relies on claiming everything is anti-Semitic. Thomas is arrogant, scheming, and completely convinced of his own righteousness. He speaks with a fake Israeli accent mixed with British undertones and constantly quotes, or misquotes, Jewish texts to justify his actions. He sees himself as a heroic defender of his people, while most of the world sees him as a dangerous fanatic. He has a burning hatred for Solomon VII, who repeatedly exposes his schemes, argues against Zionism, and represents the exact kind of principled Jewish heroism Thomas can never achieve. The two are on a collision course. One quote he is known for is saying, "Criticizing me is criticizing all Jewish people." He is widely despised by almost every nation, mainly from his money-lending schemes that charge extremely high interest rates to non-Jews. But Thomas just assumes that anyone whom doesn't like his tactics is an anti-Semite. Now let us move on to Dark Cross. His real name is Michael Granth. Was born and raised in rural Alabama, indoctrinated from birth into an extreme, hateful version of Christianity. He never read the full Bible. He only absorbed the fire and brimstone verses fed to him by his mentor, a mysterious figure known only as the Thanks Taker, who always appears dressed as a pious Puritan pilgrim. To Michael, there is only one truth: accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, or burn. Anything less is worthy of death. He calls his murders baptisms of fire, sending souls to hell so they can be purified in eternal flames. While attempting to forcibly convert a group of homeless people under a bridge one night, a pile of used needles and condoms suddenly erupted into green-black flames. From the toxic inferno, Yahweh the Demiurge spoke to him. Michael, overwhelmed with zeal, accepted the divine bargain without hesitation. He was granted the complete knowledge of every fighting style and combat technique in human history, from ancient martial arts to modern special forces tactics. In his mind, this was final proof that his God approved of his holy war. He now operates as Dark Cross, an armored crusader of wrath who believes he is carrying out divine judgment. He is a menacing figure in dark metallic armor with a flowing tattered cape. A glowing white cross burns brightly on his chest. His helmet has glowing white eyes, giving him a terrifying, inhuman presence. He looks like a dark knight, merged with a medieval inquisitor. He has perfect knowledge and instinctive mastery of every fighting style in world history. He is an unparalleled hand-to-hand combatant and weapons expert. When he believes he is doing God's work, his strength, speed, and pain tolerance increase dramatically. His weapons and strikes can be infused with dark holy fire that he claims purifies the soul. In reality, it just burns horribly. Dark Cross is fanatical, self-righteous, and completely delusional. He speaks in booming, theatrical declarations about sin, salvation, and hellfire. He genuinely believes he is one of the most righteous men alive, and that Peter Saint is a dangerous false prophet leading Christians astray. He has a special hatred for Peter Saint, viewing him as a weak, tolerant heretic who has corrupted the true message of Christ. He is preparing for what he believes will be their inevitable final confrontation. He is widely feared and hated, even by many other Christians and groups, who see him as an insane terrorist using God's name for evil. So now we'll talk about our last member of this dark trinity called the Abrahamic axis, the Krazed. His real name is Ibrahim bin Jannah. He was born in Medina and raised with a deep, radical interpretation of Islam. He views the modern Muslim world as weak, corrupted, and contaminated by Western influence. To him, both the Saudi government and most Muslim societies have betrayed true faith. He sees himself as a lone warrior tasked with purging this corruption, starting with Westerners in the Middle East. He became a lone wolf terrorist, planning bombings, ambushes, and assassinations against tourists, diplomats, and anyone he considered an infidel or collaborator. However, no matter how carefully he planned, Meccaman always appeared at the last moment to stop him. This personal humiliation festered. How could he defeat the West if he couldn't even defeat one man playing hero in Mecca? One night, while sitting by a small campfire deep in the desert, his camel suddenly exploded in a burst of green fire from its rear. From the flaming anus of the dying animal, the voice of Yahweh spoke to him, offering power in exchange for service. Ibrahim accepted without hesitation. He was transformed into the Krazed, a silent, deadly shadow dedicated to his twisted jihad. He is a tall, imposing man with a muscular build, wearing dark tactical gear with green accents. He has a long beard and intense eyes. His costume features a prominent green crescent moon and star emblem. He moves with eerie silence and precision. He makes absolutely no sound when breathing, walking, or moving. He is the ultimate stealth operative, nearly impossible to detect until it's too late. He can vanish and instantly reappear within short to medium range during combat, a form of limited teleportation blinking. This makes him extremely dangerous in close quarters. Fanatical endurance, heightened pain tolerance, and stamina fueled by his zealotry. The Krazed is cold, calculating, and filled with burning hatred. He speaks little, preferring action over words. He despises Meccaman with a personal, obsessive rage, viewing him as the biggest obstacle to his holy mission. He sees Westerners as parasites and modern Muslims as traitors. Unlike more theatrical villains, he is a grim, professional killer who plans meticulously. His only weakness is his ego. Every time Meccaman foils him, his rage grows, sometimes causing him to make reckless decisions. He refers to Meccaman as the false guardian of Mecca. He believes Yahweh is Allah, the one true God, and that all other powers are enemies. He operates completely alone, trusting no one. And now that we briefly got to know these three religious extremists, let's discuss the birth of the Abrahamic axis. The holy warriors had grown into a formidable force, but they were about to meet three enemies who each believed they were on a divine mission. Kabbalah Thomas struck from behind like a coward, attempting to ambush Solomon 7 during a peaceful protest. Before Solomon could even turn around, Thomas screamed at the top of his lungs, "That's anti-Semitic," and a dozen glassy-eyed Americans suddenly appeared out of nowhere, throwing wads of cash at Thomas and charging the holy warriors with unhinged rage. The fight was short and embarrassing. Solomon 7, Peter Saint, and Meccaman dispatched the brainwashed attackers non-lethally within moments. Thomas escaped in a panic, confused and humiliated. "Why didn't it work? I did everything right," a deep, rumbling voice spoke from the shadows. "Because you are one and they are three." The elephant stepped forward, towering and ancient. "We serve the same Lord, and there are others." Later on that very same day, Dark Cross ambushed Peter Saint from the rooftops, intending to deliver a baptism of fire. His attack was flawless until Meccaman blinked into existence and slammed him out of the air. What followed was a brutal 3-on-1 beatdown. Even with his unmatched martial skill, Dark Cross was overwhelmed by the holy warrior's coordination. He barely escaped with his life, limping away into the night, questioning his divine mission for the first time. As he clutched his wounds, the elephant appeared beside him, with Kabbalah Thomas standing and glaring quietly behind the massive figure. "You are strong, but alone. We serve the same Lord. Come with us, there is one more." Later that night, the Krazed dropped silently from a skyscraper, ready to assassinate Mechaman. His blade was inches from his rival's neck when Solomon VII's fist sent him flying across the street. The holy warriors formed up back-to-back and fought with perfect synergy. The Krazed's silence and teleportation were not enough. He retreated into the night, shaken and furious. As he caught his breath in an alley, the elephant emerged from the darkness, flanked by Kabbalah Thomas and Dark Cross. "You are deadly but alone. We serve the same Lord, and it is time we all talk." The three zealots finally stood together in a remote, run-down building. Almost immediately, they began arguing. Kabbalah Thomas said, "This is a Jewish mission. The Holy Land belongs to us." Dark Cross said, "Jesus is the only way. You're both going to hell. Jesus is King of the Jews." The Krazed said, "There is no God but Allah, and you two are filthy, retarded infidels." The argument grew louder and more vicious. None of them noticed the elephant watching in silence. Suddenly, all three men grabbed their stomachs at the same time. Their faces twisted in discomfort. In perfect, horrifying unison, they ripped massive, noxious farts. The three streams of gas met in the center of the group and ignited. A towering pillar of green-black flame erupted. From within the inferno, the booming, irritated voice of Yahweh spoke. "I am what I am. You three are the fucking team I need. So shut the fuck up, stop your fucking bickering, and listen to my loyal servant, the elephant." The flames vanished as quickly as they appeared. Yahweh was gone. The three men stood in stunned silence, smelling burnt flatulence and divine judgment. The elephant stepped forward, his massive shadow falling over them. "Welcome to the Abrahamic axis." That is when the holy warriors had a team of villains, complete opposites of righteousness, that could potentially defeat them. Oh, did I mention this all happened on the Sabbath? Yeah, crazy world.